Welcome back. This is part 1 and we're going to be talking about some subtractive EQ. So let's take a listen to our 808. Okay, so what I've done here is I've added a little bit of a high pass filter to get rid of some of that low and rumble right here. And I've added a low pass filter to get rid of all the high end here. So prior and after. Good. Now what I've also done is I've doubled this track. Okay. Right here. And what I've done with it is you'll see in the next section here is I've applied some compression to this track and I'm basically squashing the low end of it just to get more bottom end, to get more rumble completely, but good rumble, not really low end dissonant rumble. So we'll get back to that in the next section in part 2. Okay, you can also see here in the production aspect I have also used Melodyne to extract the MIDI information from this sub, and I'm going to be using this as a side chain to compress my bass track so that when that 808 is pumping, the bass ducks out and you get the sound of the 808 in your face and you don't get anything else in your face. So we'll get back to that one due to the compression section. Now, as for the kick, you see this section right here? I've blocked it out. Like I said, I didn't like the sound of that kick. So what I did is I copied the MIDI information using Melodyne, and I opened up an instance of battery 4. Let's get here. And what I've done is I've created a kick. So I used the kick here, and I've used 4 samples. So let's isolate each sample here. 1, 2. Here's my kick by itself. That's a nice kick. Good. And I've added a little hi-hat on the top. Add a little bit of brightness. You find it's very common nowadays. A lot of people are doing this. Now here, hear that bass tone? Let me turn this up for you. Yeah, there we go. Add a little flavor. Nice. Now, I've used the same effect. Oh, listen to that. Now we have a nice thick kick with high end and a little bit of low end. So let's go back here. We'll drop this volume back down a little bit and we'll open up the EQ parameters. Okay, what we're going to do here is we're going to take this new kick and we're going to just apply a high pass at about 100. Maybe a little less. Maybe over here. Roll it off. Let's hear that sounds. Good, good. Good. You want that kick to stand out but not get in the way of everything else. Okay, good. Excellent. Let's close this. Let's go to the snare. This snare, all I've done was apply a high pass filter here and then remove the little frequency at a 324 hertz. I found that it was something was really annoying in there. It was causing a sizzling sound. So there, you can listen to this a little louder. Maybe this will be interesting. Hear that? Yeah, I wasn't impressed with that. There we go. Better there. Good. Okay, and now we'll go to the stomps. Okay, these stomps. This is the original. What I've done is I've applied basically a bandpass filter here. And I'm only allowing frequencies in from 359 to basically 3K. You hear there's a lot of rumble in this low in here. Now that's going to conflict with our kick, with our strings later on, that trumpet, the vocals, our 808. So what I've done is I've applied this bandpass, and now we have this. Kind of like your telephone effect, right? So we're going to use this as just as a percussive sound now. Let's hear how it sounds so far with everything else. There we go. Everyone's in their own space. I mean, if I was to remove that low end, listen to this. Yeah, there's too much things conflicting, so that's a no-no. We have to decide. Listen, like, what's more important, that 808 or these stomps? There we go. Even roll off a little. Maybe that's a little better. Thicken it up. Okay. Hi-hats. All I did was apply a high-pass filter and get rid of all the low-end crap. That's it. Didn't even have to touch them. They sound beautiful. Crash. Same thing. High pass. I'm done. Okay. This gated pad. Let's close all this. Gated pad was another disaster in the making. Okay. There's a lot of things happening in these high mid area that's really annoying and hurts my ears. So what I did is I applied a high pass filter at about 620 hertz, and then I chopped around 2K, a little above 1K, and a little above 3K, trying to get rid of that sizzle. That's what I have so far. Now they added some kind of saturation or distortion or bit crushing effect to it, which personally I don't like. But like I said, I tried to remove most of it and get rid of the mud. We'll brighten it up later on by using some additive EQ, and we'll try to brighten up the right frequencies to get rid of this, but to make it sound a little better. So add this all together. That's a little better. Good. Now, as for the whine lead. Okay. I applied a high pass filter here, then I found a couple of frequencies that were hurting my ears. Here, and this is what we got. Good. Now, if you listen to these frequencies a little higher, not very pleasant. And this one here. Not very pleasant either. Now let's lower this in the mix. Remember, I don't want all the harmony and melodies to be too overpowering, because someone has to spit over this. People have to sing, right? So you have to leave space for the vocals too. So keep that whine lead down for low. We'll see what we'll do with it later. Let's go to the next one. Okay, strings. Close these. Okay, this string patch here, I just applied a high pass to get it out of the way of the bass. There we go. It's a little thinner now. Okay. Second one, this is the strings with piano sound. Okay. Another high pass and a low pass to get rid of any reverb off the top. Yeah, better. Okay, and then these trumpets. Here's with it off. Okay. High pass, low pass, and then I found some offending frequencies around 481 and 2K. Pull those out. Now I don't want these trumpets to be overpowering over the strings. I want them to fit in. When we compress these together, we'll use some glue compression and we'll make it sound good. Okay, there we go. And I'll put these into a bus group before the next section. And let's hear what we got so far. Good. Excellent. Now, the vocal chants. Okay, I applied a high-pass filter to get rid of the low end. These guys are definitely not singing over 300 hertz. And I found some offending frequencies around 921. There we go. We'll use some compression to make those stick out so I don't have to keep it this loud in the mix. There we go. Okay, good. Now, let's go to the bass. Okay, so you see here the bass lead and the snare effects. I've totally disabled that because that was useless. The bass lead here, I've disabled. And what I've done is I use Melodyne to extract the MIDI from it. And I've created two channels here. A bass low channel and then a copy of it. So let's take a look at this. Crack it open here. Okay. The first thing I've done is I've used an instance of Nexus. And the patch I used is just a basic triangle wave. And let's take a listen to this track. So it still has that slightly distorted sound. Not as distorted as the original bass track. I mean, here, let's re-enable this. You can hear this. Yeah. Didn't like that. Didn't have any bottom end. Didn't have any balls. At least this track here is a little thicker. Right? Good. So, what I've done here is I got that track. And for EQing, subtractive EQ, what I've done is I've applied a low pass at 145 because, like I said, I don't want to get in the way of that sub bass, that 808. And sometimes with bass, the actual instrument, it's better to roll off the low end because you'll get a better punch out of it. So this is what it sounds like. I applied a high pass to get rid of any high frequencies. Okay. There we go. Good. See, now it's not getting in the way of that 808. Good. So that's the first thing I did. Second thing I did here was I made a duplicate copy of this track. And this track here, I put a high pass filter at 230 hertz and a low pass at about 2.5K. Now, I used an instance here of Massive to get a nice fizzy sound off the top. So I'm gonna roll this one off completely here and let you listen to this. which is a more controlled sound than this. This just sounds much too in your face. So with this instance here, massive, when I combine the two together, let's get both of them in there. There we go. A little thicker. Well, sometimes what I usually do, especially for more R&B tracks, is I'll layer 3 basses, and then I'll dedicate one for your low frequencies, one for your low mids, and one for your high mids. And I'll basically filter each one out so each one has its own frequency range and blend them together, compress them, and then you get a really fat bass sound. This one here I'm using 2, just getting low mids and mids, right? Because like I said, that 808 is taking care of this sub. So, all together, this is what we got so far. Excellent. Come back. Part number 2, we'll talk about some compression on all these tracks. It's got a little parallel compression, some sidechain compression. And I'm Rico and I'm out. I'll see you in the next part. Ciao.